So, Knock Knock, Season 10, Episode 4. In this episode, Bill and 5 other adolescents rent out a creepy mansion and are attacked by magic wood lice. I'll start off with the positives. First off, the pacing, for once, was excellent. The 45-minute time slot the Doctor Who has often leads to episodes getting much less time than they need to fully realize their stories. A perfect example of this is The Power of Three, which had a lot of potential, but ran out of time before it could deliver everything it needed to. Knock Knock isn't like that. The pacing was near perfect. The middle to end of Act 1 probably could have been a bit faster, but I'd much rather Act 1 be a bit slow than the climax be really rushed like in Smile. And very few episodes have perfect pacing, in classic or modern, so it's not really something I can hold against the episode. I also like that the story of this episode is very self-contained and focused. Most of it, save a few scenes in the beginning and one at the end, all take place inside of just one house, and I think that really helped the pacing. Speaking of the house, the setting for this episode was excellent. The house and the way it was shot combined to make a very creepy location. It was nice to see Bill's ordinary life again, and Bill is still amazing, and Nardole was good in this episode too. Again, he wasn't in it very long, but what he was in was good again. Other than Bill and the Doctor, I think that there were 3 standout characters. First and foremost, the landlord. This guy is terrifying. And while he looks a lot less like Mr. Oak now that I've actually seen the episode, he definitely has a lot of the same vibes. The character itself is frightening, yet sympathetic, but not sympathetic enough to make the audience want him to win. This is the mark of a good villain, one that you still want to get defeated, but can understand why he or she is doing what they're doing. I definitely think that the landlord is one character that will go down in Doctor Who history as one of the best villains the show's ever had. Yes, even better than Professor Zaroff.
Nothing in the world can stop me now!
The second standout character is Eliza, but more for her costume than her actual character. The wooden person is really creepy and excellently designed, and definitely one of the best designs the show's seen. Her character was also interesting, but I think she's going to be more famous for her costume than anything else. The final standout character is Harry. It's always nice to see people who know the Doctor by reputation, but not personally, and the way they act and react towards him, because I always find it really funny, like when the guy tried to give the Doctor a high five. Peter Capaldi had excellent chemistry with Colin Ryan, and I really wish the two had more time on screen together, and I would really like to see Harry come back at some point, kind of like how Riggsy did. He's definitely the ensemble dark horse of the piece. Also, fun fact, Harry mentioned that one of his grandfathers tried to steal part of the Great Wall of China, but what writer Mark Bartlett didn't have time to reveal was that Harry's other grandfather was none other than Harry Sullivan from Season 12 and Terror of the Zygons of the classic series. Unfortunately, the reference was cut from the final episode. But that doesn't change the fact that it's a part of his character and it makes me want to see him come back even more. So overall, this entire episode was excellently executed with brilliant direction, great acting, and some truly standout characters. Now the negatives. There aren't many, but I do have a few. First, I thought that other than Harry, none of the other students really had a lot of character, but at least I did remember most of their names this time. Most of them. I still have no idea what the girl who climbed out of the window was named. And I think that one of the scenes from the beginning of the episode could have been excised or ended early, such as one of the 2 music scenes, which weren't really necessary and kind of brought the whole episode to a halt. And that time could have been instead used to flesh out the characters a little more so that when they met their inevitable fate, I would actually care more about them. As it stood, it was extremely obvious that the other students were nothing but cannon fodder, and it would probably have been better if one of the students were cut or combined with another to give the viewers more time to get to know them. Another negative isn't actually the fault of the episode itself, but rather the fault of the BBC marketing, as the episode advertised in the Next Time trailer and a sneak peek was a very suspenseful horror episode like Silence in the Library or Flesh and Stone, but the episode itself was much more subdued and creepy. This meant that I was expecting a completely different episode than what was actually delivered, which I think hampered my enjoyment of it a lot, because I was really excited for the Davies-era horror story, but that wasn't what the episode was, or designed to be. So when I thought that the episode was finally getting to the scary part, it instead took a completely different direction and threw me out of the story. This happened about the time when the landlord confronted Harry and the Doctor in the basement, and I got thrown out of the story when Harry got eaten because you need a side cast for Davies era horror, and Bill's friend was the only person left other than Bill and the Doctor, so all of my expectations for the episode were misled. Again, not a fault of the episode itself, and when I go back to watch it in a week or two, knowing what it is actually like, I think I will enjoy it a lot more, as the atmosphere it did create was very good. My favorite scene was when Pavel was stuck halfway through the wall, as it was very creepy and unsettling, and really made me question exactly what was happening. The villain itself wasn't especially scary, and I think that the bugs could have been done better to be a little bit more intimidating, but again, I'm looking at it from the wrong angle. Also, I did have a little bit of trouble with the ending involving how the landlord was defeated, because although the ending itself was really emotional and very well done, the fact that Eliza could suddenly control the bugs, while it did make some form of sense, did feel a little bit like a Deus Machina, and all the students getting magically resurrected again at the end with no real explanation kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But overall, Knock Knock was definitely a great episode. 9 out of 10 overall and 8.5 out of 10 compared to other Doctor Who episodes. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if this rating increased on rewatch in a week or two. Now, I'm not going to be doing my wish list anymore, as it was honestly starting to annoy me, and I felt like I was just repeating myself over and over again, so I'm just going to do a quick bit on the vault. But I'm still going to do my wishes versus reality in the season summary at the end of the season, but for now, just the vault. I am continually intrigued by what is in this vault, because again, we are learning more about it, and it really is an excellent story arc, because we are continually learning new information and advancing the storyline. For example, today we learned the simple, well, not today, I suppose it was about a week ago now, but about a week ago we learned the simple but important fact that the Doctor knows and seems to be friends with whoever's in the vault, which just raises more questions. I'd say that I think the Sim Master is in there, but it seems a bit too obvious. Anyway, Knock Knock was a creepy episode with an emotional ending and excellent atmosphere. I will see you next week for Oxygen, and it looks good. Really, really good. I've been talking about how much I've been anticipating this episode all season, and it seems that Jamie Matheson is not going to let me down. I will see you then.